Hi everyone, how are you all doing? This is your upcoming week astrology forecast and collective reading. This video we are talking about the week of March 17 to 23rd. I am your host Natalie. I hope that if you enjoy what I do and share on this channel, you can subscribe and share with your friends. We have quite a few aspects that is packed into this week that we will break it down. The first one, Monday, we have the Sun conjuncting North Node in Pisces. So last week we just had our eclipse, and this week the Sun conjunct the North Node. So there's a chance that your eclipse story is still playing out. We are in eclipse season, so things can continue to change and unfold, develop. This Sun conjunct North Node can feel like there's a light shining on your destiny. Maybe for some of us today, your eclipse event or story might be highlighted. Something is being illuminated around those houses, or today some of you might experience something that feels destined. Maybe you'll meet someone important. Maybe you will experience a fated event. Something happened that feels destined and fated in some way, shape, or form. North Node in Vedic astrology means the head of the dragon, and North Node have this energy of thirst, hunger, the tendency to obsess about. There's this tendency of this energy when we're talking about North Node. So today you can definitely feel this energy. So beware of what you're processing, what you're doing or thinking, and this can also sometimes, not all the time, not everyone is going to feel it, but it can feel a little bit of delusional. This can feel especially not everyone, like I said, especially some people that resonate with the extreme new age way of thinking or spirituality, you know, using psychedelic to connect with, you know, the higher God, or, you know, God-like experience, or so on and so forth. Though, so I do want to mention that, and beware. And practice safety and discernment if you do know what I'm talking about. And this energy is a little similar to what I want to say in the next aspect. So on 19, on Wednesday, we have Sun conjuncting Neptune is in Pisces. And in some way there's a similarity with this energy. With Neptune, you know, the planet that sometimes associate with dissolution, right? With this fogginess, this dreaminess. With Sun and Neptune today on the 19th, this can feel extra potent. There's this extreme energy that we are feeling, and some of us can feel extra delusional and anxious and overwhelmed and extra sensitive. And it can stems from, you know, projection and insecurity. So be mindful with the beginning of the week with all this aspect, and this can be a day where you blur the boundaries. You're not paying attention to your boundaries, and some of us might even have the tendency to detach and dissociate and escape into a rabbit hole, or, you know, escape from the reality. But at the same time, I also understand that because of how crazy our world is right now with everything that is happening, especially if you are in certain part of the world, it can create a lot of anxiety and makes you want to escape. So really be mindful with this week's energy, especially the early half of the week with these couple of aspects. Try to use healthier way to escape, to channel this energy. For example, you know, Sun Neptune can also be very creative. So maybe use this energy to writing poetry, writing music, creating art, listening to music, right? And reading poetry, reading stories, novels, fantasy, watch a sci-fi fantasy film, you know, binge watch a show, use these healthier ways to disassociate, to escape if you really want to, or when you catch yourself wanting to really just take a break from the reality and, you know, like let go, and maybe go and sit by a body of water to listen to the waves, stare into the sky and daydream a little bit, you know, things that I've just mentioned, to really channel that energy instead of using, you know, alcohol, drugs, psychedelic to escape, because you can really go down on a dangerous path, especially with these aspects. So do be mindful and be safe and practice safety if you really choose to use, you know, substances. On the 20th, the sun enters Aries on March 20th, 2:01 a.m. Pacific time or 5:01 p.m. Hong Kong time. So just the time according to where you are in the world. The sun enters Aries, not just kickstart Aries season, but also is the time where we embark on spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and it will be fall equinox in southern hemisphere. But for us astrologers, Aries season, the sun enters Aries, is also us embarking on a new astrological year. So happy new astrology year to everybody that celebrates or that use this timeline to associate with a new year. And yes, we are in the midst of a very, very crazy time. We are in the midst of eclipse season. Two of our personal planets, Venus and Mercury, are in retrograde, and we are also in March, one of the most intense energetic month with all this crazy aspect, astrology changes and shift. But do take a moment to reflect on how far you have come in the past 12 zodiac season. You know, how much have changed, and be so proud of yourself on what you have been navigating through, and take a moment to also be with yourself, you know, to quiet down, to really look back, reflect, and then to set some new intention for this new astrological year as well. Anytime when we have the sun entering a cardinal sign, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, we kickstart a new season. We also associate this 0.0 degree in these four cardinal signs as world point. So whenever the sun enters these four signs into the 0 degree, it's big thing, right? Because it kickstarts a new season. It brings in a new energy, and also this can signify something important happening for us on a collective level. So pay attention to the news and see what comes up today as well. This is Aries season, and it's springtime in where I live in the northern hemisphere. This is the first zodiac season, and normally when we talk about Aries season, when I talk about a new astrological year, I will always say, yes, this is, you know, a new beginning. You know, we are celebrating, kickstarting a new astrological year. This is the time to set new intentions, go after what is it that you want, you know, take action, take risk. You know, Aries is that pioneer, initiating air energy. Use it to go do whatever it is that your heart's desire. But like I said, March is one of the most powerful months with intense astrological energy shift and changes. We are also in a very important year where there's a lot of changes, and with eclipse season, with two personal planets, Venus and Mercury in retrograde, all these energy add up, and later on there's more coming with Neptune changing sign. It's really actually not a typical Aries season where I will say all those stuff I just mentioned. And this is just in my own opinion. In my own opinion, I will do something that is not exactly opposite, but different, because with eclipse and retrogrades, it's really the time to be in a slow down, a stillness. I know life happens. You cannot slow down and change and just like not do things because of all these energy, and I totally get it, right? But it is a time where I will be in a more instead of reacting, but a more responsive energy. It is inviting us to be more of a an observer and listen, to reflect on the past year, because the energy taking place this month and this year, nothing will be the same. I feel like there's a version of us before March, or before 2025, and then there's the new version of us that's like after March, after 2025. So this really is the best, in my own opinion, to use Aries season, and with this eclipse season, and also most importantly the 2 retrogrades, to really to reflect on different areas of your life and reflect on what is real and true to you. Aries is all about the self. So something I would love to ask you all to spend some time during this spring equinox to ponder on is, with all these energy, with what is really happening around the world, whether you believe it or not, we are connected. Something that is happening in one place, one country, can really ripple out and affect the rest of the world. Whether this is directly, indirectly, we all will feel it, you know, no matter what, no matter how wide of a spectrum it is. On the scale, we all feel it in some way, shape, or form. And with all these said, you know, this is really the time to choose how we spend our energy, right? As in how we spend our time, how we spend our money. All these are energy, and you get to choose. You get to choose, and the way you spend it, the things, the brand, whatever you want to spend your time, effort, and money into, this says who you are. So then, who are you, and what do you believe in? What do you truly value, and how do you show up for them, and how do you show up for others, you know, and who do you align with, and how would you like to move forward? You know, this is something that I feel like this is something that we should think about and maybe ponder on with the retrograde energy, with this new astrological year that is coming in as well. The next day, on March 21st, we have Venus retrograde in Aries having a sextile with Pluto in Aquarius. So this aspect can feel quite sexy in some ways. And yes, I am talking about maybe if you are, you know, with someone, this can be a lovely, sexy day where you get the steam going and get, you know, like deepen this relationship feelings that you have. But this also does not limit it to romantic partnership. This sextile between Venus retrograde and Pluto can be a day to deepen all kinds of relationships by having deeper conversation, by opening yourself up to discuss things that you haven't talked about, to talk about what our secrets are, you know, what dive deeper into knowing that person. Maybe this is a friend, a colleague, a new friend that you've just met, right? This is not just limited to romantic partnership. This can be because Venus talks about our values, how we see things. Maybe this Venus retrograde review something for you, right? Review how some people think and how people act and how they showing up for you or in their friendship, relationship, family, dynamic, work, so on and so forth. Social space, right? And you are having some clarity. Now maybe you now see who you want to align with, you know, that share similar values and belief system with you and deserve more of your time and effort, and who don't, right? So this is also that kind of energy. And Venus talks about money matters. So does Pluto. Pluto talks about power. So today with the sextile, maybe some of you are signing a contract, closing a deal, maybe making some money decision, or like getting or like asking for a promotion or receiving one. So this can be a nice day as well for some of us. On March 22nd, we have a Venus Cazimi. So Venus and the Sun will conjunct today in a sign of Aries. So this is a Venus Cazimi also marks the midway point of our Venus retrograde journey. So by now you probably already know your Venus retrograde story, right? It's probably already showing up in some way, shape, or form through people to tell you what your Venus retrograde story is. So this is the midway point. We are halfway through our journey. This might be a time where you will start to see what are you working with, and maybe starting to see the solution, the clarity that you need, or they will come in soon. And this might be a point where you're starting to okay, I see that now. I see you now. I see what is happening right now. I see and I know what to do right now with my Venus retrograde story. This is also a time when Venus traveled through and aligned with the Sun and sort of disappeared. The few days before and after the Venus Cazimi, usually around I would say a week. So let's say so around this week, this is where Venus will be disappeared. It will be blocked by the light of the Sun, and we won't be able to see her. And this is also when she enters the underworld, and she will then emerge back out, and we'll see her again, but this time she will shift. So right now she is an evening star, we can see her at night, but very soon she will disappear, and when she comes back out, she will emerge as a morning star. So this is what happens during a Venus retrograde. And Venus has a different energy when it's a morning star or when it is a evening star. When she's in her evening star mode, it's more nurturing, is a little bit more associated with that nurturing feminine energy. And Venus, people often forget that Venus is actually a warrior. Okay, so when she is in her morning star energy, that is when she is fire, when she is more of a fighting for what's right, what needs to be said, and standing up for her values. That's why Venus, is associated with the justice, with system, with money matters, with our values. It is also associated with all the beautiful Venusian things, art, music, and things that bring joys to our life, right? So we will soon see her in that morning star energy as well. And so are we, as we working with this energy. Venus in Aries have this energy of reclaiming our power, because Aries is about the self, and Venus in Aries have this almost like sense of activism in it as well, because you are fighting for what you believe in. You are believing your values, and you are not afraid to speak about them and show up for them. And Aries is all about owning your truth and be your authentic self, even when not everyone agree with you or see you. So I feel like this Venus in Aries, retrograding, Venus retrograde in Aries journey for us individually is really asking us to dig deep within ourselves, to look at our values, look at our belief system. what do we want to stand up for with what is happening around the world? It's crazy. It's changing all the time. And it's really asking us, well, then what you truly value? How do you see all these? And own it, right? Not afraid to own it. And sometimes in order to be you, to be the most authentic self, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You're gonna ruffle some feathers and you're gonna go against the grain. And it's okay, because it's true to you. And not like you are being malicious or mean. You're just being you and standing for what you are and what you believe in, and people that resonate with you as well will come join you, and that is how you find your tribe and your people. On 23rd, we have the Sun in Aries, sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And I want to dive into the week after, a little bit ahead into the week after as well, because all these aspects, they're kind of speaking to each other. You're kind of feeling them all together in the span of 3 days. So I want to group them together and tell you what these all means. So this, we are diving into the next week as well. So on the 23rd, we have the Sun sextile Pluto. And then on the 24th, we have our Mercury Cazimi, the Sun conjuncting Mercury in the sign of Aries. And then the next day, 25th, we have Mercury sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto, they're all like aspecting each other and talking to each other. So all these aspects in some way grouped together, they are all trying to shine a light on something regarding to our Mercury retrograde journey and our thoughts and our belief system in some way, shape, or form. So it's very interesting because we're talking about Mercury and Pluto, and of course, and the Sun. There's this connection here because Mercury in Greek mythology is known as Hermes, and he is God's messenger, and Hermes is the only one that can travel between the living and the dead. Hermes is the only one that can enter the underworld and come out of it, and underworld is associated with Pluto, Hades. So you see the connection here. We're talking about, you know, Mercury and Pluto. So it's almost like Mercury is going down to the underworld, to Pluto, to retrieve whatever message, clarity, revelation that you need to come back out for you to know during this time. And the Sun is illuminating on them for you. So like I said, similar to the Venus Cazimi, Mercury Cazimi on the 24th also marks the midway point of our Mercury retrograde journey for us. And with all these aspects playing, maybe you are finding some clarity. Maybe you are having a moment of revelation, information, news that is coming to you. And maybe you are thinking about like, oh, maybe during the pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde, there were some miscommunication, misunderstanding, or you said something that like you regret, or the other person, you know, vice versa. And now with this Mercury Cazimi and Pluto in the play as well, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, or that person realized and approaching you, hey, you know, we fought before, you know, there was some miscommunication, misunderstanding. I want to do something about it, or you want to do something about it. You want to clear it up. You want to, you know, you're finding the clarity, you're finding solution around it. So that can be this for some of you during this last bit of the week or beginning of next week with all these aspects as well. Also, we are having all these energy, you know, Mercury, Pluto, and the Sun, they're aspecting each other and this Mercury retrograde is happening in Aries. In some way, I feel like all these aspects is also inviting us to go within, right? To go within and go back to the way we think things, the way we communicate, the way we talk to people, but also most importantly, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we communicate message, information, consume them and bring it into ourselves, and how we digest it and how we process the way we think. And it does ask us to, during this Mercury retrograde, to really kind of look within and how do we talk to ourselves? How do we communicate? How does our thought process system work? Are we having some limiting belief that needs to be let go? You know, maybe the way I used to think and process things is not right, is needing a change. You know, maybe it's shift. You used to have this kind of belief or way of thinking, and now maybe with what is happening in your world, with what is happening around the world, it shifts and changes, right? So I think this is a very interesting time to also do some shadow work and look within and question yourself. You know, what do you believe right now? How do you process and digest information with what is happening? Maybe you will find something that is different. Maybe you'll find your own clarity as well. And this is kind of the energy that we are working with this and next week. So I hope it helps. And now let's take a look at our collective message for this week. We have the 8 of Wands, and then we have the 8 of Cups, double 8, and then we have this 9 of Pentacles. It's really resonating with what I just talked about with Venus and also Mercury. I feel like, you know, this week there's a lot of, for many of us, there's probably going to be moments of revelation, aha moments, like, or new information or information we neglect but coming up right now. You know, like we're going to like, ooh, I didn't know that. Now I see, or now I know. Now I realize something, and now I pick up on certain things, you know, that is maybe within me or from other people, you know, and this can be, like I said, internal, or this can be external, right? This can be you seeing the truth of certain people in your life that you don't want to align with anymore because they don't share the same value or belief system and blah, 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 right? Or vice versa, right? Someone is like, I don't want to be with you anymore, you know? And maybe this is also you realizing, hey, you know what? I used to think of things this way, and I think now I change. It's different now because of certain thing happens, you know, in your life or in the world, that kind of like, oh, now as I gain more knowledge, when I gain more clarity and awareness, now I think differently. Now I want to believe in something else, or now my, you know, belief system is changed, you know. And this is all about you also knowing your value, you know. Maybe this is you not letting certain relationship to continue to take your energy, right? Our time, our money is energy. Or maybe this is, ooh, I used to love this brand, but now I found out that they actually do this shady thing. Guess what? I'm not gonna spend my money, give my money to that company anymore. I divest, you know. I no longer want to stand and give money to something that don't share the same value with me anymore, right? This can be like that, right? And we are definitely seeing a lot of that with what is happening around the world. So this might be a week where you are feeling and working with this energy as well yourself. From the Moonology card, we have full moon in Scorpio, breathe through the tension, and we have full moon in Aquarius, be real. So we have like 2 full moon illuminating energy for us this week, and it's funny because we have this Scorpio full moon and an Aquarius full moon. In some way, shape, or form, they are bringing up emotions, bringing up informations, very much associate with the Venus and Mercury retrograde. That is illuminating something for us, just like that Kazemi, right? It's like the Kazemi of Venus and Mercury, lighting something, putting light, shedding light on something for us to know, to see, to feel, to sense, and to know more about in some way. And lastly, perfect, we have card 49, Observer. Like I said, this week especially, and this Aries season, I really encourage us to use this Aries energy differently. Instead of usually, the Aries energy is more outward pouring, like you exert the energy out because you are wanting to initiate something, you want to go after something, take action, take risk, right? Be courageous, but instead use that energy internally, right? Be the observer with all this retrograde energies and the eclipse season, with all these intense astrological energy change and shifts. It is better to be an observer. Sometimes we are so set in the way we think things, we do things, we forget that the world is not just about us. We tend to forget other and different perspective. It is time to maybe come back and be an observer and zoom out to see the bigger picture, to see different perspective, not just focusing on yourself, right? And through that, you might actually find your own perspective is different, or like, oh, I'm right all along, or oh, maybe there's a different way to see things or do things or process things. So I invite you to be curious, and I invite you to be the observer of your own mind, your way of thinking, the way you process message, information, and so on and so forth. And I hope this video helped you navigate through this energy this week. If you resonate, if one of the message helps you, feel free to let me know. I would love to hear from you, connect with you. So comment below and let me know. If you want to have a more personalized consultation, I offer all kinds of astrology, tarot, and akashic records reading consultation. I offer distant energy healing sessions with Reiki. So if you're interested, my email is in the description box. Just send me an email or follow me over on IG and DM me over there as well. In the meantime, I am sending you all so much love, and I'll see you next week.